Welcome to Spectrum News Within the Week. I am Rita Enung, coming to you live from Uyo. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Tinubu congratulates Super Falcons on WAFCON victory. The federal government tags flood prevention as a security priority. Plus, the EU threatens €93 billion tariffs reprisal on US goods. Details of these stories and more in a moment. Good afternoon and many thanks for staying with us. We begin the news within the week from the national scene where President Bola Tinubu has assured Nigerians that the fight against terrorism and banditry remains one of the priorities of his administration. Tinubu stated this at the commissioning of the first phase of housing projects for victims of banditry in Kaduna State, represented by the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu. Tinubu noted that Nigeria is in safe hands and his administration will restore law and order. The president added that significant progress has already been made in restoring peace and rebuilding lives in Kaduna State. He stressed that good governance must prioritize the need of the people, especially those affected by violence. He also praised the Kaduna State government, the Office of the National Security Advisor, and the Chief of Defense Staff for employing both kinetic and non-kinetic approaches to tackle insecurity in the region. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu yesterday congratulated the Super Falcons of Nigeria on their victory at the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations, WAFCON, and in the process secured their record 10th continental title. The president took to his official X account to say the Super Falcons chose to accept the mission and they understood the assignment. In a similar vein, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu commended the Super Falcons for their significant achievement, attributing it to their resilient spirit. Away from that, the federal government within the week elevated flood prevention to a national security priority with the unveiling of a new anticipatory action framework on floods to move disaster response from reactive to early coordinated responses. The new framework, which includes scientific and traditional data gathering methods, triggers for early action, and a consolidated budget for flood response. It aims to build resilience in states and communities prone to seasonal flooding. Speaking during the official submission of the draft framework and consolidated budget by the Anticipatory Action Task Force, AATF, at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, Vice President Kashim Shettima said Nigeria must believe in science and pursue a roadmap for disaster prevention. And from the Red Chambers, the Senate during the week approved President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's external borrowing plan of over $21 billion for the 2025-2026 fiscal cycle. The approval came after the presentation of a report by the chairman of the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debt, Aliyu Wamako, who noted that the plan was first submitted to the National Assembly on May 27 due to legislative recess and documentation issues from the Debt Management Office. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, Olamilekan Adeola, stated that most of the loan requests had already been factored into the medium-term expenditure framework and the 2025 budget. He further explained that the borrowing is already embedded in the 2025 Appropriation Act, noting that with the approval, all revenue sources, including loans, are in place to fund the budget. And in the meantime, the Senate in the course of the week adjourned plenary till Tuesday, September 23rd. The resolution followed its adoption of a motion by Senate Leader Opeyemi Bamidele. Senate President Godswill Akpabio had said the senators will break to conduct oversight, adding that upon resumption, each committee would submit a report on its oversight activities to the Red Chamber. And from the Green Chambers, the House of Representatives within the week reaffirmed its commitment to judicial reforms and timely justice delivery in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, as lawmakers deliberate on two key legislative proposals aimed at overhauling the territory's judicial system. The chairman of the House Committee on the Judiciary, FCT, Adamu Gamawa, made this known during a public hearing on the bills. One of the bills seeks to amend the Constitution to increase the number of judges in the FCT, while the other proposes the establishment of lower courts with jurisdiction over civil and criminal matters in Abuja. Adamu emphasized the 10th House's resolve to promote equal and affordable access to justice for all residents, regardless of background or social status. On electoral matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, during the week revealed that it received 10 additional letters of intent from groups seeking to register new political parties ahead of the 2027 general elections. This was made known in a statement issued by the INEC National Commissioner, the chairman of the Information and Voter Education Committee, Sam Olumekun. He stated that with the new submissions, the total number of associations currently seeking approval to become registered political parties have risen to 144. Recall that on June 25th, INEC announced a surge in applications, having received 110 letters of intent from groups aiming to register as political parties. The Commission therefore pledged to keep Nigerians informed about all its ongoing activities. And from the judiciary, a federal high court sitting in Lagos in the course of the week ordered the Inspector General of Police and the Lagos State Commissioner of Police to pay 10 million naira in damages to some NSARS protesters for the violation of their fundamental rights. The trial judge, Justice Musa Kakaki, in his judgment held that the applicant protesters were unjustly harassed and their constitutional rights were infringed upon while participating in the 4th Memorial Rally held on October 20, 2024. Justice Kakaki further held that while law enforcement agencies hold constitutional powers to maintain order, such authority must be exercised within the confines of democracy and the rule of law. The judge affirmed that the applicants were entitled to the constitutional right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association as contained in the Nigerian Constitution. In a separate development, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Nentawe Yilwatda, during the week emerged as the new national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, following his nomination and election by members of the National Executive Committee, NEC, of the party. The chairman of the Progressive Governor Hope Uzodinma nominated him for the position, and the motion was seconded by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin. Reports say his emergence comes at a time when the APC is battling to consolidate its hold on power at the federal level and in some states which recently defected to the ruling party. The 56-year-old Yilwatda takes over from Abdullahi Ganduje as chairman of the party after the latter resigned from position in June, citing personal reasons.
I, your name.
I, Professor Nentawe Goshoyi Luwala,
Do solemnly affirm.
Do solemnly affirm
That I shall be faithful.
that I should be faithful
And bear true allegiance.
and bear true allegiance
To the All Progressive Congress.
to the All Progressive Congress,
That as national chairman.
that as national chairman
Of All Progressive Congress.
of All Progressive Congress,
I will discharge my duties.
I will discharge my duty
To the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability,
Faithfully.
faithfully,
And in accordance with the Constitution. And in accordance with the Constitution.
and in accordance with the Constitution
Of the party.
of the party,
And always in the interest.
and always in the interest
Of the integrity.
of the integrity,
Solidarity.
well-being,
And prosperity.
and prosperity
Of the party.
of the party
As contained.
as contained
In its Constitution.
in its Constitution
And manifesto.
and manifesto,
I will not allow.
that I will not allow
My personal interest.
my personal interest
To influence.
to influence
My official conduct.
my official conduct
Or my official decisions.
or my official decisions,
That I will.
that I will,
To the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability,
Preserve.
preserve, protect,
And defend.
and defend
The Constitution of the party.
the Constitution of the party,
That I will do. Right to all.
right to all
Members of the party.
members of the party
Of the party.
as an officer of the party,
And I will devote myself.
and I will devote myself
To the service.
to the service
And well-being of members.
and well-being of members
Of the party.
of the party
And the people of Nigeria.
and to the people of Nigeria.
So help me God.
So help me God.
And still to come in the news, the federal government wants project accountants against funds mismanagement. Stay tuned for details of this in a moment.
Broadening your horizon is what every living being not only genuinely desires, but heartily pursues and intentionally invests in. For in the gathering of men, only those whose minds are in tune with the dynamics of the past, present, and future innovations, inventions, politics, and governance are respected. We are Spectrum Television, and broadening your horizon is our obsession. Rescan your decoder now to connect Spectrum Television on the frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. That is frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. Polarization horizontal, and join our online community at spectrumtvlive.ng. For further inquiries, please call 0704 158 5642 or 0704 541 7707. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Welcome back to the news on Spectrum TV. I am Rita Inu. Many thanks for staying tuned, and now we go over to the rest of the news stories. And moving now to Africa, where there is a relief in South Africa after months of disagreements. The country's lower house of parliament within the week passed the last piece of legislation for its budget bill. According to a press release from the South African Parliament, the legislation had caused political deadlock between the ruling party, the African National Congress, and its biggest coalition partner, the Democratic Alliance. This has substantially delayed the bill. The appropriation bill is the third major part of the annual budget and determines how much money is allocated to government departments and national programs. Elsewhere, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) during the week praised Senegal for acting to engage the reforms to strengthen its economy, while also working with the IMF to clarify and amend its debt position after it uncovered misreporting of how much the African country owed creditors. The Director IMF Communications Department, Julie Kozak, said the IMF, a key financier for the debt-laden country, froze disbursements on its program with Senegal last year after an audit under the new President Bassirou Diomaye Faye found the previous administration had understated deficits, pushing its end 2023 debt ratio to 100% of GDP versus the previously reported 74%. The IMF also praised efforts by Ghana to shore up its fiscal positions as it unveiled its budget proposals. And still in Africa, Russia and Mozambique during the week reaffirmed their defense relations during a visit from the Africa country's foreign minister, Maria Lucas, to Moscow. Lucas expressed concern over the ongoing war in Ukraine, but praised the resilience of the Russian people. She said Mozambique had been following closely with the situation and that her country would like for the matter to be resolved in a peaceful way. The foreign minister also stressed the war's impact on food security in Africa, adding that her visit to Moscow allowed her Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, to proclaim his country's commitment to provide defense assistance to Mozambique. And on the foreign scene, EU states in the course of the week approved a €93 billion package of counter-tariffs on US goods that would kick in from August 1st. That will kick in from August 7th if talks with the United States fail. The U.S. President Donald Trump blindsided the European Union this month when he threatened a 30% levy on EU goods unless the two sides reach a trade deal by August 1st. Brussels and Washington appear to be inching towards a deal with a baseline 15% levy on EU goods, but the bloc is still forging ahead with detailed retaliatory plans in the event of no accord. The list included previously agreed levies on €21 billion of U.S. goods, including soybeans. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump within the week said he does not expect to reach a trade deal with Canada after he gave the country a deadline of 1st August to carve out an agreement. His remarks come after Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney signaled earlier this week that Canada will not accept a bad deal and rush into an agreement. Reports say Canada is among several countries given an August deadline by Trump as part of his global tariff strategy and push to renegotiate deals with U.S. trade partners. And in the meantime, Donald Trump during the week also said that the U.S. has reached trade deals with Japan and the Philippines in what it would be a major development in the tariffs war. The announcements come ahead of August 1st deadline, which Trump has threatened to increase tariffs. The U.S. president noted that Japan, one of the country's largest trading partners, agreed to a massive trade deal that would lead to $550 billion in the U.S. He also announced separately that U.S. will levy a 19% tax on imports from the Philippines and that Manila will remove duties on U.S. goods. And still on the foreign scene, gang leaders and small boat suppliers are among the first 25 targets to have their UK assets frozen in an effort to combat migrants crossing the channel. The suspected criminals are also banned from traveling to the UK after they were first to be hit by a wave of new sanctions targeting people smuggling. Foreign Secretary David Lammy described the move as a landmark moment, but experts said the impact was likely to be limited, given the small scale of smuggling networks. Reports say UK investigators can now seize the British assets of sanctioned individuals and groups, while firms in Britain must cut any financial ties with them. On our business news, the federal government within the week warned project accountants and financial officers to exercise utmost care and integrity in managing funds for federal projects, especially those sourced through external borrowing. The Accountant General of the Federation, Shamsuddin Ogujimi, gave the warning during the 2025 retreat of the Federal Projects Financial Management Department held in Abuja. Ogunjimi, who was represented by the Director of Finance and Accounts, Akwaogo Chuks, said that the funds under their supervision were not only public but also borrowed, and therefore must be handled with a deep sense of responsibility. He noted that the retreat was a testament to the commitment of the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation to enhancing the financial management of federal projects, urging officers to use the platform for reflection, collaboration, and strategic planning. Meanwhile, the federal government of Nigeria during the week announced the offer of 80 billion naira in its bonds for subscription via auction. slated for July 28, 2025, with settlement expected on July 30, 2025. The announcement was made by the Debt Management Office in a circular. According to the DMO, the bond issuance was carried out in compliance with the Debt Management Office Establishment Act 2003 and the Local Loans Registered Stock and Securities Act 17. Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. The offer comprises two reopenings of previously issued federal government bonds. 20 billion naira is being offered for the 19.30% April 2029 bond, which has a 5-year tenor, while 60 billion naira is allocated to the 17.95% June 2032 bond with a maturity period of 7 years. Each bond unit is priced at 1,000 naira with a minimum subscription of 5,000 naira and additional investment in multiples of 1,000 naira, allowing investors to subscribe for up to 50 million naira. And still in business, Nigeria's gross domestic product (GDP) in the course of the week rebased from 80 trillion naira to 205 trillion naira. This is according to the Statistician General of the Federation, Adeyemi Adeniro. The figure, according to him, showed an increase of 41.7% compared to figures obtained during the 2014 GDP rebasing exercise. Adeniro said that the top 5 performing sectors include crop production, trade, real estate, telecommunications, and the oil and gas sector. The recent rebasing covered the period between 2019 and 2023, using 2019 as the new base year. And still to come in the news, Super Falcons defeats Morocco 3-2 to win 10th title. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying tuned and welcome back to the news on Spectrum TV. In health, the federal government within the week urged Nigerians to prioritize self-care, noting that it is a critical, non-negotiable pathway to achieving universal health coverage and improved well-being for all Nigerians. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Pate, stated this at a press briefing to commemorate the National Self-Care Day, themed Self-Care, Empowering Individuals, Families and Communities for Universal Health Coverage, and the slogan, Prevent, Protect and Empower. Mohammed, who was represented by the Ministry's Director of Food and Drug Services at the Ministry, Olubunmi Ariabiana, emphasized that self-care is not a luxury but a necessity. He urged that Nigerians must prioritize their physical, emotional and mental well-being to lead healthy, productive and fulfilling lives. Meanwhile, the federal government during the week launched a renewed effort to eliminate bottlenecks in the administration of health insurance and compensation schemes for public servants in the country. The government also vowed to enforce zero tolerance for bureaucratic inefficiencies that undermine the welfare of workers injured or killed in the line of duty. The move was announced at a two-day sensitization workshop organized in Abuja for desk officers across ministries, departments and agencies, where top officials decried the unacceptable delays, poor interagency coordination and weak operational knowledge that continue to benefits for the civil servants. And still in health, the federal government in the course of the week partnered with the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, to tackle the malnutrition emergency in Sokoto State. A high-level delegation from UNICEF, the European Union, Medicines Frontiers and the federal government arrived in Sokoto to advocate for urgent intervention and increased funding, led by the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Professor Nantewa Yilwadzda. The mission was to galvanize support for tackling the alarming rise in severe acute malnutrition in the state. Speaking during the visit, Professor Yilwadzda lauded the collaboration between the state and the humanitarian partners and stressed the need for durable solutions rooted in local capacity. And now to sports, where Nigeria's women national team, the Super Falcons, yesterday beat Morocco to win the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. The West Africans had to fight back from 2 goals in the first half to win 3-2 in Rabat. The host scored twice through Ghislaine Chebak and Sana Musaudi in the first half, but the Falcons came out strongly in the second half and scored through Esther Okoronkwo's penalty. The victory means Nigeria has now won a record-extending 10 WAFCON titles. Elsewhere, Nottingham Forest midfielder Morgan Gibbs-White says he wants to be part of something special after signing a new 3-year contract at the City ground. The 25-year-old's future was uncertain after Tottenham expressed an interest in the England international. Gibbs-White had 2 years left on his previous deal after joining Forest from Wolves in a move worth up to £42.5 million in August 2022. He has scored 18 goals and provided 28 assists in 118 games for the Reds, helping the club finish 7th last season and qualify for Europe. And still in sports, Britain's Emma Raducanu yesterday was beaten 6-4, 6-3 by Russians Anna Kalinskaya in the semi-finals of the Washington Open. The 22-year-old, who's run in the United States to ensure she regains her British number, Katie Bolter, served 5 aces early on, but could not convert any of her 4 break-point opportunities. Kalinskaya, ranked 2 places beyond Raducanu at 48 in the world, capitalized with a break in the 9th game on her way to clinching the first set. The two exchanged early breaks in the second set before the 26-year-old Russian pulled ahead once more, taking lead that proved decisive and breaking again to seal the win. Kalinskaya will face Lila Fernandez in today's final after the Canadian edged out third seed Elena Rybakina of Kazakhstan in an epic encounter that included 3 tie breaks. On our entertainment scene, the highly anticipated Big Brother Naija Season 10, aptly dubbed 10 over 10, kicked off yesterday, promising intense drama and excitement. The reality TV show will feature a diverse group of housemates competing for the grand prize of 150 million naira worth of gifts over the next 71 days. 15 female housemates were introduced to the house yesterday, each bringing their unique personalities. The male housemates will be introduced today during the second part of the lunch show. And lastly, in the news within the week, as the beef between controversial singer Habib Okikiola, popularly known as Portable, and self-styled activist Martins Otse, also known as Very Dark Man, continues to escalate, the former has now challenged the latter to a street brawl. Reports say their feud started when Portable called out Very Dark Man for constantly criticizing President Tinubu over the economic hardship in the country. He also claimed that VDM was allegedly using the late singer Mobet's tragic death to gain popularity. Very Dark Man swiftly responded with a diss track titled Ole, wherein he referenced Portable's past allegations of stealing a tricycle and phones, and was arrested by the police. In a recent video broadcast, the Zazo crooner said he wants to settle his beef with Very Dark Man in a brawl. He explained that he doesn't want a boxing match with VDM, but a street fight. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News within the week. I am Rita Enon. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.
Broadening your horizon is what every living being not only genuinely desires, but heartily pursues and intentionally invests in. For in the gathering of men, only those whose minds are in tune with the dynamics of the past, present, and future innovations, inventions, politics, and governance are respected. We are Spectrum Television, and broadening your horizon is our obsession. Rescan your decoder now to connect Spectrum Television on the frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. That is frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. Polarization horizontal, and join our online community at spectrumtvlive.ng. For further inquiries, please call 0704 158 5642 or 0704 541 7707. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.